A lot of people have heard the term cross addiction thrown about. Personally, I don't like that term, and I have admonished some of my colleagues for ever using it. Cross addiction apparently means that I can be addicted to more than one thing. But if you look at it from my point of view, cross addiction would also mean that if you can be addicted to more than one thing, then some people might not be cross addicted, which means maybe you're only addicted to one thing. It seems absolutely ridiculous to me that a person can say, well, I'm addicted to alcohol, but I can use benzos all day long and never have a problem with it. It doesn't work like that. We think that way, though, when we're coming out of treatment. The addict part of my thinking when I'm coming out of treatment in early sobriety will try to convince me that I can still play the game in one way or another. If I look back at my history, I can tell myself that, well, it all began back when I was in junior high. And I started smoking marijuana. Okay, great. And I progressed from there to drinking beer later on in high school. Once I got away from home and got into the military or into college or wherever, let's say I started experimenting with cocaine and maybe even opiates. Eventually, however, I passed that line of unmanageability and I started, somebody give me an example of a really hardcore drug that drove him into rehab. Bath salts, crystal meth.
Heroin.
Crystal meth, bath salts, or heroin. Now, I'm in treatment, hypothetically, and I'm looking back over my life, and I'm going to tell myself that there's no doubt in my mind that I can never use crystal meth, bath salts, or heroin again because it drove me here. It almost ruined my life. It tried almost successfully to kill me. And if I'm honest with myself even this much, I can say that cocaine and opiates probably led me to that, and I can't do that anymore. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to tell myself that, wow, I remember back when I was a kid, back when I was 14, 15 years old, I seem to recall that smoking marijuana and drinking beer never hurt me. It was good to me, never had any consequences. Therefore, I'm going to give up all of these hard drugs and I'm just going to go back to doing this again. But there's one problem in that logic. I'm not 14 or 15 years old anymore. Let's say by the time I get down to this line of unmanageability, I'm 40. Well, if I start smoking marijuana and drinking beer again in early recovery, I do it right down here below that line of unmanageability. I don't get a comeback to here anymore. Them days are gone. There is no time machine. I start where I left off, and as soon as I wake the addiction up, it starts to scream at me for what it really wants. And it will drive me back to my drug of choice, sometimes in a day, sometimes in an hour, sometimes in a week. It doesn't matter when, but it will happen. There is no such thing as being cross-addicted. An addict is an addict is an addict.